Baker advising President Bush, in the Middle East, all things are connected together and unwise actions will boomerang and come and hurt you. If you want to stabilize Iraq, then deal with the original sin and resolve the Arab-Israeli struggle. But first, get out of the green zone and get some good intelligence about the Sunni insurgency and the Shiite militias. Welcome to Inside Iraq. I'm Jassim Azzawi. Israeli Prime Minister Olmert has denied any linkage between the chaos in Iraq and the Israeli occupation of Palestine. But to Arabs, Palestine will remain a rallying cry for anti-Americanism if the US does not redeem itself. But can President Bush satisfy the Arabs? Does he have the political capital to pressure Israel? Here is Seb Walker.
With Iraq teetering on the brink, where does the US go from here? The Iraq Study Group spent months talking to Iraqis from all sides of the political spectrum. Their findings?
But to give the Iraqi government a chance to succeed, United States policy must be focused more broadly than on military strategy alone or on Iraq alone.
Solve the Palestinian issue and the rest will follow. That concept formed some of the main recommendations of the Iraq Study Group report. To put it simply, it read, all key issues in the Middle East, the Arab-Israeli conflict, Iraq, Iran, the need for political and economic reforms, and extremism and terrorism are inextricably linked. And to succeed in Iraq, Washington should make sure Israel returns the Golan Heights. It should be more directly involved in solving the Arab-Israeli conflict. And, the report said, it should make a renewed push for the creation of a Palestinian state. But will helping these people really have an impact on stopping these people? The Israeli Prime Minister didn't think so.
The attempt to create a linkage between the Iraqi issue and the Mideast issue. We have a different view. As far as I understand, President Bush also had a different opinion about this issue throughout the last couple of years.
But some analysts say the two issues are linked, if only indirectly.
To the extent that people can say, look, the United States doesn't really care about what happens to Palestinians or Lebanese, that is a real liability in its foreign policy, and it makes it hard, even if it has goodwill in Iraq, to achieve anything.
With violence worsening day by day in Iraq, there may well be nothing for the US to lose in trying to solve the Arab-Israeli question. But that's a conflict which has lasted for decades, and Iraq is fast running out of time. Sebastian Walker for Inside Iraq, Al Jazeera.
To find out whether the Israeli occupation of Palestine is linked to the American occupation of Iraq, I'm joined from London by Abdel Bari Atwan, Editor-in-Chief of Al-Quds Al-Arabi, and from Tel Aviv by Dr. Raanan Gissin, an advisor to former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon. Welcome to Inside Iraq. Dr. Gissin, let me start with you. James Baker says all Middle Eastern issues are inextricably linked. Why is Prime Minister Olmert refusing that basic fact?
No, I don't think he's refusing that. By the way, the same James Baker said the same thing in 1991 when he initiated the Madrid conference to resolve the Arab-Israeli conflict, but at the same time to deal with the regional issues. I think there's a clear recognition, you know, when you read through the report and you read the recommendation, by the way, which I don't know if the President will accept all of them, that there is two tracks that have to be dealt if you are to foster stability in the Middle East. One is deal with the regional issues, one of which is, for example, Iraq, or the ongoing conflict for the past 1,400 years between Sunni and Shia, and the other is the younger conflict, the one between Israel and its Arab neighbors.
Let me go to Abdel Bari Atwan. Olmert refused the linkage, contrary to what Raanan Gissin says. The very same James Baker found a linkage between this invasion and the Kuwait invasion.
I believe there is a huge linkage between the two. Most of the problems in the Middle East originated because of the Israeli occupation, Israeli atrocities, and the American siding with the Israelis. The American fought this war in Iraq in order to help to serve the Israeli interest, in order to protect Israel from Saddam Hussein. So there is a huge linkage. The American, when they sided with the Israelis, when they protected them, when they actually used the vetoes to cover their atrocities, massacres against the Palestinians, when they did that, they lost credibility. Nobody trusts them anymore. They are the most hated administration on earth simply because they are supporting this Israeli atrocity, this Israeli occupation. In 1991, yes, the President Bush Sr. Confirmed this linkage by calling for Madrid conference and promising Arabs who sided with the American to kick Saddam Hussein troops from Kuwait. He actually promised them a peace conference in Madrid in order to solve these problems. He realized that it is essential to look for a solution to these problems in order to have peace in that part of the world.
You are actually refusing the linkage made by Baker simply because you want to decide the level of linkage and how you define it. Isn't that really your concern?
No, my concern is to achieve peace between us and our Arab neighbors. And over time, over the years, we made ample concessions and take steps. The last one was a disengagement in order to bring the Arabs to the negotiating table. But unfortunately, the real tragedy here is that the regional context, the global context has taken over. You know what? You look at the world around, you won't find a local conflict any longer. Unfortunately, you know what happened to the Palestinian National Liberation Movement? A couple of years ago, it was hijacked and it is held hostage in Tehran and in Damascus. The decisions whether there will be a ceasefire or not are not determined in Gaza or in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem. They're determined in Tehran. And when Ismail Haniyeh comes back to the territory, he brings money not to support the poor Palestinians, but to run the weapons industry and to fire more Qassam rockets against Israel. And so I'm saying you can't say that if you resolve only this conflict, then you can resolve the rest. I could say this, that if we are able to isolate that conflict from outside influences, and we are willing to do our share, make concessions, release prisoners, even relinquish territory, but there must be a concerted effort on the part of the Arab countries to stem the tide of this tsunami wave of what I call the Iranian invasion into the heart of the Middle East.
Israel does not see the linkage, all the strings ending in Palestine or even in Tel Aviv, but seeing it in Tehran. Tehran is the spoiler. Is that the accurate reading of the map, Abdel Bari Atwan?
This is a huge diversion from the facts on the grounds. This is typical Israeli. They're always looking for a scapegoat in order not to implement UN Security Council resolutions. They were concentrating on Saddam Hussein. When actually they managed to depose Saddam Hussein, now they are saying the danger is Tehran. This is rubbish, to be honest. The problem is it is the Israeli occupation.
Can you blame us when we are? How can you blame us when we are threatened with genocide?
This is the problem. You know, you have to look at the grounds. This is the only occupation on earth. Why they didn't solve this problem before Tehran is a threat? Why they didn't solve this problem before Saddam Hussein is a threat? Why always they are looking for a new threats? Because they want to keep their occupations.
I'll tell you why.
They want to keep massacring the Palestinian people. That's the truth.
Let him answer, Abdel Bari.
No, but I'm asking you this. You ask a question, I'll give you an answer. Why Saddam Hussein? Why Tehran, Iran? Because you have countries there and leaders who make it no secret that what they want is to eradicate Israel off the map. And after they eradicate Israel off the map, they want to eradicate the map. Change the map of the world. And they're willing to do it by force. They're willing to do it with suicide bombers. They're willing to do it with shaheeds. They're willing to harness a radical ideology which is going to bring destruction on the rest of the Middle East. So why do you blame us when we are facing genocide? Genocide by people who claim, who say it.
Rana Gissin asked,
they want to destroy Israel.
Abdel Bari Atwan, a quick answer, then I have a question for you. Go ahead.
You know, the problem is, saying genocide. Who is practicing the genocide in the occupied territories? It is not the Iranian. Who is occupying the Syrian land? Who is occupying Lebanese land? Who is occupying Palestinian lands? It is not the Iranian. It's not Saddam Hussein. It is Israel. Israel is really a burden in the international community. They are creating this radicalism. They are radicalizing the whole world. They created Al-Qaeda. They created Hamas. They created Fatah. They created PLO simply because they don't listen to the calls for peace.
By the same token, Abdel Bari Atwan,
that's the problem. problem. They are the problem.
Abdel Bari Atwan, by the same token, Olmert for the first time called for the establishment of sovereign Palestinian state. Hold on just a second, Ra'nan Ghassin. Olmert called for the establishment of a Palestinian sovereign state, and he also praised the Arab initiative. In your opinion, what is the catch? What are the conditions he is attaching to this establishment?
Yeah, I think this is for local consumption, honestly. Ehud Olmert realized that the world is fed up of this country called Israel. The world is fed up of their atrocities in Lebanon. They destroyed a quarter of Lebanon, killing down more than 1,500 people, committing massacres in Gaza Strip, uprooting trees, destroying houses in the front and the head of its inhabitants, humiliating Palestinian people in the checkpoints. So he realized that, he became a burden on the international community and also on the American administration. America now, they are in complete mess in Iraq. They want to face Iranian nuclear program. They cannot actually convince the Arab allies to join them in any foreign policy because most of the Arab countries, moderate Arab countries, they're saying to them, look, go and solve this
Abdel Bari Atwan,
we
let
cannot
me stop
be with you anymore.
I need to give the final answer to Ra'nan Ghassin in 30 seconds. Please do it.
Just one historical point that has to understand. Terrorism and incitement to destroy Israel preceded occupation. There was no occupation before 1967. We were willing to live alongside an Arab state since 1948. It was the Arabs who rejected it.
Thank you,
so
Ra'nan Ghassin.
You blame us for trying to defend ourselves, for trying to hold back.
Thank you very much. Abdel Bari Atwan, a final quick answer. Daniel Kircher, the former American ambassador to Israel, says, if we stabilize the Arab-Israeli struggle right now, do you think a single Iraqi gunman will lay down his gun? Answer that quickly for me, please.
Yes, I think they will, because America will be credible. America will be respected. America will be encouraged. So as long as they actually taking the Israeli side, supporting the Israeli atrocities, Israeli massacres, nobody will trust them. Everybody will fight them. The American problem is because of its support to Israel. That's the truth. Let them send troops to Israel the way they did to Iraq, to Afghanistan. The world will be in peace.
Abdel Bari Atwan, editor-in-chief of Al-Quds Al-Arabi. Ra'nan Ghassin, political advisor to former Israeli Ariel Sharon. Gentlemen, thank you very much. When we come back, we will try to find out why twice in a row the US intelligence community failed to predict accurately what is going on in Iraq. Stay with us.